Hi, my name's Jonathan Hicks, I'm at Aircon, and today I'm joined by the designer of Gloom of Kilforth, Tristan Hall, who's going to tell us about the game. Hi Tristan.
Hello there, thanks for having me on the show.
So what's it all about then?
So this is Gloom of Kilforth. This is our first game from All or Nothing Productions. We kickstarted it back in 2015, and it took us a long time to deliver because the game has nearly 300 unique pieces of art. So it's a fantasy adventure game for 1 to 4 players. It can be played competitively, cooperatively or solo, and it recreates an epic fantasy adventure game where you're travelling through a world that is slowly being engulfed in gloom, the Gloom of Kilforth. So as the heroes, you start out with nothing but a gold piece in your back pocket, and you travel around the world telling your tale or your saga of your hero. So that involves going to various crazy locations and meeting strange people, going on quests, meeting enemies that you have to overcome, and exploring ancient shrines and places that have been overgrown by forests and lost civilizations and all that kind of fantasy adventure stuff. And that's driven by the decks of cards. So there's lots of cards in the game, as you can see, and every card in the game is unique. So we've got this amazing artwork, and it's all a consistent style, it's all the same artist, and it took us nearly 2 years to put all this together because I wanted an extremely cohesive look to the world. I wanted to build this world and make it look as gorgeous as possible. So it landed in the summer of 2017, and we sold out in a couple of weeks. It got voted one of the top 10 games of 2017 by Tabletop Gaming magazine, and we had some really good reviews. It was like 8 out of 10 on Board Game Geek. So we went back to Kickstarter for a reprint for everybody who'd missed out, and we added some expansion content as well. So that's all going to the printers in the next couple of months, and we're really excited to be here and to show off the game. And we're also here to, are we talking about the second game as well?
So I'll just mention, Tristan has also done, if you look up here, 1066 Tears to Many Mothers, which was on Kickstarter and is going to come out, I think, later this year, is that right?
Well, yeah, we've literally had the art files today, the final art files today, so we're going to send that out to the printers in the next couple of months, and that'll be arriving in summer as well. So we're getting the reprint of Gloom of Kilforth, plus its expansions, plus 1066 Tears to Many Mothers, which is a very different game. It's another card game, but it's all about the history of the Battle of Hastings. So both sides take on the role of Duke William or King Harold as the Normans and the Saxons, and they're trying to battle each other to fight for the fate of England. It's a very different game from Gloom of Kilforth in that all of the cards in the game are based on real people, real events, and real units that fought at the battle, and it's all steeped in the history of the time. So the mechanics of the game are driven by the history as well. And the flavour card, the flavour text on the cards is like a miniature history lesson on each card as well. But we've kept the sort of unique, visceral, visual style. So the artwork is still going to be this gorgeous, realistic-looking world. So we've tried to sort of counter the perception of war games as being very sort of dry, hex and chip-based affairs, and make them look as sexy and beautiful and interesting as possible. And also give people a kind of Magic the Gathering style 2-player experience that plays very quickly, can also be played solo, but that also delivers like parcels or a feeling of the history of the time. So players can sort of retell the Battle of Hastings itself, and yeah, so we're really excited to bring that out. It's half the size of Gloom of Kilforth, so it's a much smaller game, but again, still 150 unique pieces of art, so it's going to be a really great looking game, and it's already been nominated for a couple of awards as well, so it's, yeah, we're really excited to bring that to market.
Okay, great. So perhaps just to focus a little bit more then on Gloom of Kilforth, since we've got it out here, I'm assuming these standees are representing your heroes in the middle?
Absolutely, yes.
It's a competitive game, is it? Or are you working together?
Competitive, cooperatively or solo. So if you're playing the competitive game, it's a race against all the other heroes to complete your saga, to tell the tale of your hero, and defeat the ancient evil that's causing the gloom to spread across the land, and it's a race to be the first player to do that. In the cooperative game, there is an evil ancient spreading the gloom. There's one of these for each player, these handsome ladies and gentlemen, and these are the demons that are causing the gloom to spread across the land. So in the cooperative game, you're trying to beat all of those before time runs out. So every turn, after the players have taken their actions and travelled around the world and had adventures and settled down and camped for the night, the game gets a turn at night time. So you draw a night card and an event occurs. Here we've got the tribal chiefess comes into play. So she arrives at Spine Ridge Pass, and then one of the locations falls into gloom. So we flip the location card over to show that it's now in its gloom side. And this represents the gloom spreading across the world. And it acts as a timer, mechanically speaking. The players have 25 days to stop the evil from spreading and to defeat the final boss and win. Whether you're playing it competitively, cooperatively or solo, if you let the gloom engulf the world, it's game over and everyone dies and everyone loses, no matter which version of the game you're playing.
Okay, could you give us a quick example of what a player might do on their turn then if you took one of these characters?
Okay, so over here we've got the characters themselves. We've got an orc wizard here whose quest is to steal an ancient artifact. The red tokens show that they have 4 health. So at the start of every turn you get as many actions as you have health. So the more injured you are, the less actions that you have. So on a turn, for example, you might want to do a hide action. There's 9 actions you could choose from, so I won't bamboozle you with them all at once. But hiding is like going into stealth mode. So what you would do then, you'd play your action and you'd hide. And you'd tip this figure over to show that you're hidden. Play then immediately passes over to the next player. So over here we've got the priest, the dwarf priest. So their objective is to rescue these villagers. And they might decide, you know what, I'm not going to hide, I'm going to head out into the world. So they spend 1 action and they go off adventuring. So when you go out adventuring into the world, you spend an action, you can move orthogonally in any direction. And when you move onto a location that doesn't already have an encounter card there, you draw one from the relevant deck. So here we've got Plains card, we're going to draw the top Plains card. And that shows you what's inhabiting this area of the world. Here we've got a trader who lives out here. It's a stranger you can speak to using your influence. Or if you're a roguish, nasty player, you could go and fight her, depending on how you want to choose to play the game. So the idea being that all of the encounters and adventures that you meet give you a sort of narrative, little story beat that tells you what's happening in the game. So here we've got the trader living out in the Windy Valley. You've discovered that she's there, and to keep the downtime to an absolute minimum, the play passes immediately back to the next player. So we come back to here, the wizard, the orc wizard, is going to spend a move action to go moving out. So if we just look at their saga for a second, you can see that they want a Badlands and Forest keyword. So you're collecting keywords to tell the story of your tale, the saga of your hero. So we want a Badlands and Forest keyword. So we're going to send the wizard out into the Badlands and draw a Badlands encounter. And here we've got a missing child. Raphael has run off and you've got to try and track him down. Okay, so when you complete these encounters, they add to your saga, and you can collect the cards, collect the adventure cards, to use their keywords to match your saga. And as you collect the keywords, you complete the chapters of your saga and you effectively level up. So if we come back over to the dwarf priest here, we're going to spend 1 action and we're going to try and influence the trader. Let's just, for now, let's not fight this poor woman who's out here in the Windy Valley all by herself. We're going to use her influence action, and this tells us here we need 1 successful influence roll. So we look at our character, we've got 2 influence from being a dwarf, we've got a 2 influence bonus from being a priest, so we've got 4 dice. So we're going to roll those 4 dice, and we're looking for 5s or 6s. So 5 or 6 is a success. And we only need 1 success because she's a very amenable character. She's happy to chat with us. More difficult to negotiate with characters would have higher values. So we're going to roll 4 dice. And we got 3 successes there, which never happens to me. So that was an amazing roll. So we've effectively defeated the trader. We didn't kill her, we used our influence to talk to her and win her over to our cause. So we go to the reward step now. Every time you complete an adventure, you get a reward. Here we can either choose 2 gold, or we can draw from the mysterious bag of loot. You always need 5 gold to complete each chapter of your saga. But in here you can get all kinds of other bonuses. There could be a shield or a cloak. She could give you an artifact to help you on your journey. It could be a pony. It could even be more gold. It could be nothing. For now we're just going to take the gold. So we're going to get 2 gold. And then we skip to the second part of the reward step, which is we can either keep this card for its keywords, stranger, noble and plains, or we can discard her for a reward, an ally reward. But we don't need the ally, we're going to keep this card because it has the plains keyword, which we need for our saga here. So this goes into our hand as a rumour, and that shows that we're telling the tale. We won the trader over to our cause. She's now going to help us rescue those villagers. And the play continues like this. So we go back to the Orc Wizard, and they would take a turn, and then they would have to decide whether or not they want to rescue the child. So if we just skip ahead a little bit, we'll come back over to the Dwarf Priest here, and we'll assume that we've collected the Plains keyword from the trader here, but we've also collected the Badlands keyword from the trade route here, Badlands, and we've got 5 gold, and we'll take a regale action, which is basically levelling up. So you spend 1 action to regale. It tells you here it costs you 5 gold, so we're going to spend all of that, and we've got to discard these 2 keywords, Plains and Badlands. So we discard both these cards, and you've effectively then completed that chapter of your saga. You can read the little narrative text that explains what's happening, but effectively you flip it over from chapter 1 to chapter 2, and now the keywords are going to get more difficult. But you also get more powerful. You get more health, which is going to give you an extra action at the start of the next round, and you gain a skill that's particular to your class. So as the priest you could become a herbalist or a Templar, and those skills get more and more powerful the more you level up. And the objective of the game is to go through these chapters and complete as much of your saga as you can until you get to your finale and overcome the final challenge for your hero, and that basically brings you to the attention of one of the ancients who's causing the gloom to spread. And at the point where you've completed your saga, you can go and try and kick these guys' asses to win the game. So these are the really difficult boss guys, and you've got to do all of that before time runs out. So at the end of every day, when the night card's drawn, have we been through night cards? I can't remember how much we skipped ahead. Okay, so at the end of the day, when all the heroes have taken their actions, they come down for the night and the game gets a turn. So you draw a night card, and it tells you one of these locations falls into gloom. And when the gloom is spread fully across the land, it's game over and everyone dies. And that's the game in a nutshell.
All right, great, thank you. That was a very detailed overview. Thank you, Tristan.
If I've gone on with myself, I apologise.
That's absolutely fine. So that is Gloom of Kilforth, which is available now, or as we said, 1066 Tears to Many Mothers will be out later this year. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.